The only people that are upset at us setting boundaries are the people that benefited from us having no boundaries. And understand that you are not responsible for anybody's emotions. Sometimes our boundaries is what makes people actually sit with their emotions for the first time. Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. So as you can see by the title, today we're going to be talking about how to stand up for yourself and set boundaries, okay? I don't really have a reason why I wanted to make this video, but if you do find some value from it, please leave a like or a comment down below. It really helps my channel a lot to know that you like videos like these. I love each and every one of y'all so much. I really do appreciate all the constant support. Thank you to all of my subscribers that have been here from the beginning, and also thank you to all of my new subscribers. I see y'all, I love y'all, and I appreciate y'all so much, okay? Go ahead and follow me on my Instagram right down below on the screen, and we're gonna get right into it. So the first step to standing up for yourself and setting boundaries is to understand why you struggle setting boundaries. And one of the reasons why I feel like we struggle to set boundaries is because we don't notice when we're triggered and when one of our boundaries has been crossed. And when you get triggered, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna be angry. Sometimes it can look like going quiet. Sometimes it can look like shutting down. Sometimes it can look like forcing yourself to be okay with something when you know deep down that it's not okay with you. So those moments when somebody says something rude to you and you feel slighted, those moments when somebody is trying to make a joke at your expense and you're not okay with that, any uncomfortable feelings that we have whenever we interact with people, that's a sign that it's not okay with us and that a boundary needs to be placed there. And another reason I feel like we struggle to set boundaries isn't because we're afraid to speak up for ourselves, but we've been raised with certain conditioning to not speak up for ourselves. Growing up, we've been conditioned to keep our feelings to ourselves and to suppress them in order to keep the peace and keep other people from feeling uncomfortable. And we've also been raised to believe that we should be afraid of conflict because conflict ends things, but in reality, a simple conversation can fix a lot of things. We've also been conditioned to be afraid of people not understanding us, which is okay because you're not going to be for everybody. Or we're just simply afraid to lose certain people out of our lives. But we have to ask ourselves, why do we want to be around people who don't respect and support us in this way? Why do we want to be around people who don't want to see us be our best version? Why do we want to have people around us that don't support our well-being? And another question is, why are we so willing to keep the peace? If people can't cultivate their own inner peace and they expect you to shrink and suppress yourself in order to keep that peace, they are the problem. Toxic people like this, they love and they thrive off of chaos, and they want you to help keep them emotionally regulated. You do not need to be around people like this because they are users and they are energy vampires. They will literally drain you of all of your essence, and when you don't have any more, they're gonna move on to the next person. Don't allow yourself to be used in this way. Keep your eye out for people like this. So the second way to stand up for yourself and setting boundaries is to stop abandoning yourself. First, we have to understand that boundaries aren't just for other people, but they're for ourselves too. We have to make sure that we're not going out of our way to make ourselves uncomfortable. We have to make sure that we're not playing a part in our own demise, because the boundaries that we have for ourselves are both protective and preventative measures that we can take to keep our inner peace in alignment with ourselves. Some ways that we can implement boundaries in our life to prevent us from feeling uncomfortable can look like not putting yourself in certain environments and situations, not engaging with certain people in certain conversations because you know it'll trigger you. Or it can look like just removing yourself from situations where you are being used and abused and not staying around to try to prove your worth. And me personally, I love boundaries like this because these are types of boundaries that don't always have to be said. These boundaries are decisions that are just going to be felt, understood, and respected. And a lot of your boundaries and who you are is about what it is that you choose to allow in your life, what you choose to entertain, how you choose to operate in your own life, and who you're willing to walk away from. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of people like to say that you are what you attract, and I do agree to a certain extent, but I don't feel like that's always true. I feel like personally, you are what you choose to entertain. So if you decide to entertain drama, gossip, and mess, naturally you're going to turn into one of those types of people. If you decide to go entertain somebody who isn't that smart and doesn't have a lot going on, you're showing yourself that you're willing to put up with that because they're not benefiting you in any type of way. If you're always having to take care of somebody, that's not benefiting you in any type of way. You are what you allow in your life. You are what you entertain. So this is why we're having boundaries to prevent us from being in these uncomfortable and non-beneficial situations. This is why we're intentional about the people that we keep around us and the types of people that we have in our life and the boundaries that we have for ourselves. Because again, if you have boundaries for yourself, you're not going to entertain certain things. You're not going to do certain things. You're not going to go certain places because that's not who you are. It doesn't align with you. It doesn't feel right. And I don't care what anybody is talking about online, talking about women are always in their feelings, but it's like, okay, my feelings have saved me several times, okay? The third way to speak up for yourself and set boundaries is to start practicing speaking up for yourself in small ways. One of the ways is it can look like you sending your order back. Don't be afraid to send your order back. Just be polite about it. But the thing is, you have to remember, you deserve to get what you pay for. Just because it might make the employee uncomfortable for a couple of minutes, they're doing their job. They're paid to make sure that you're getting what you paid for, right? So you have to remember to ask yourself, why am I okay being uncomfortable with not getting what I paid for? Because I used to be that way, and I used to be so upset when I didn't get the extras that I paid for. I need to make sure that I'm getting what I paid for. And that's okay, there's nothing wrong. Sometimes it can look like asking somebody why they're speaking to you that way and telling them that you don't appreciate that. When they're doing all of that screaming, when they're coming at you crazy, you just look at them and be like, why are you talking to me like that? I don't appreciate that. And if they're healthy enough, they'll just say they're sorry and they won't do that again. It can also look like saying no without over explaining, especially at jobs. And I can use myself for an example. Like, I remember there was one job that I had. It was one of those jobs where they had my personal phone number. So they would text me at the crack of dawn. They would text me whenever they felt like it, whenever they were low on staff. And just because I took one shift one time, they expected me to take shifts anytime that they asked. Sometimes they would ask me why I couldn't come in, but I don't have a reason. I just can't. That's the reason. I'm not available. Even if my plans was to do nothing, I still have plans. People don't get to just schedule themselves into your life without asking you. They don't get to just pop up on you when they want to. They don't get to just expect you or volunteer you for anything. If they need something from you, they have to ask. And if you're not available to do it, if you cannot, that's just what the reason is. It's no hard feelings. It's not me being harsh. It just is what it is. Because if it was me, would you do it for me? If I needed you right now, would you be able to inconvenience yourself for me? And these are the types of questions that we need to ask for the people in our life. We need to ask ourselves if these people are even worthy of us doing things to begin with. Is this somebody that I'm willing to inconvenience myself for? Is this somebody that's willing to inconvenience themselves for me? Real questions that need answers. It can look like saying that you don't have it. Whether that's money, whether that's energy, whether that's time, that's the reason. Toxic people love to get mad at you just because you won't give them what they expect you to give them for whatever reason, whether that's because they have a certain title in your life, certain position, or whatever. If you don't have it to give, that is a good enough reason. If you have the money, or even if you don't have the money, if you don't want to give it, just say I don't got it. That's the reason. They're just going to be mad, and if they need the money bad enough, they're going to go find somebody to get it. It can also look like saying no to answering the phone, or saying no to listening to people's problems because you don't have the emotional bandwidth and capacity for yourself to listen to those problems. You probably have a lot of stuff going on in your own life. You need to take care of you. This is a preventative boundary for us because it helps us from being drained and overwhelmed, especially when we already don't have it. And we can't pour into anybody with an empty cup. Sometimes it can look like not putting yourselves in certain situations and certain environments because you're just not feeling it. I remember this girl one time, she asked me if I wanted to go to a party with her, and I was like, no, parties aren't really my thing. That's all. I don't owe you an explanation as to why I don't feel like I should go to parties because I'm not really a party person and all of that. I'm just good. Simple as that. And if people have a problem with that, people have a problem with what you do, these are the types of people that you cut off, especially after you've already expressed the boundary, but they keep overstepping it because you don't want to get to a point where you've bottled up so many transgressions against you and now you're spewing it out. Now you're taking it out on anybody, especially those people who don't deserve it. The people that's good to you in your life, they don't deserve to have the turmoil taken out on them when all they've done was show up for you and love you and support you in the best way, and they care about your emotional well-being. Those people don't deserve that. It can also look like not laughing off jokes that are at your expense. So many people have made jokes at my expense, and when I don't find it funny, now I'm the problem. How the hell am I the problem when you was making it about me? Like, sometimes people don't understand that you can't just joke about everything, especially if I don't know you like that and you don't know me. Baby, what are you talking about? Okay? We're not laughing off jokes that are at our expense because that makes people feel like that's okay. That makes people think that you're going to be the scapegoat to take out all of the little jokes and the jabs. And the thing about jokes, the truth is usually in it. So pay attention to those jokes because it'll tell you everything that you need to know about these people. It can also look like asking for what it is that you need. Asking people if they want to hang out with you, to ask you a couple of days in advance to the hangout. Don't ask me to hang out at the last minute. Don't ask me to hang out when you're already on the way to my house. That's not going to cut it because I have stuff to do, even if that's nothing. I don't want to do it. And then they'll be upset at you, but they didn't take the time to ask you anything. I'm very big on that, and a lot of people have been disappointed. Don't call me when you're on the way to my house. I'm not going to get up and get ready, especially when you're 20 minutes away. Maybe it takes longer than 20 minutes to get ready. And then you're going to be mad at me for taking long, but you're the one that decided to come out of the blue. And I'm not saying that you can't just be spontaneous with people, but it is to say that people should respect your time and your plans and what you have going on. And if they don't, they just expect you to drop everything you have going on and hang out with them or attend to them. That is not a person that needs to be in your life. They don't respect you. It can look like asking people to explain more when you're confused. If somebody is talking about something or somebody is wanting you to do something, don't be afraid to ask those questions. For example, I remember I had a friend who used to invite me out to a lot of different places, and the reason why she never really wanted to ask me is because she knew I was going to ask a whole bunch of questions. I was asking stuff like, who's going to be there? What time does it start? How long is it going to end? Where is it located? All of those types of questions, because I deserve to have a peace of mind and be safe wherever it is that I go to. I don't just hang around anybody. I don't just go to any place, because that's boundaries that I have for myself. Nothing to do with you. It's just personal for me. It can look like just disengaging from unproductive conversations that you know will end up triggering you. When people come at you crazy, or when people start talking about sensitive topics that they know are sensitive to you, it can just look like walking away, walking out the room and coming back later. It can look like telling people, I don't really want to talk about this right now. Or it can look like, can we just talk about this at a different time? Can we talk about this later? It's okay to ask for what it is that you need. People have to respect your emotions. People have to respect the boundaries that you have for yourself. And if they don't, those are not the types of people that you need in your life. And it can also look like correcting how it is people address you, especially with men, because this goes beyond just calling you the wrong name or saying your name wrong. Like, for example, when people are trying to shoot their shot, they shouldn't be calling you A Ma. They shouldn't be saying A B. They shouldn't be saying fine-ish. They shouldn't be saying none of that. Excuse me, miss. Excuse me, ma'am. Where's the respect? When you're in a relationship with them, they shouldn't call you anything outside of your name. They shouldn't be referring to you as my B. They shouldn't be referring to you as my ball. They shouldn't be referring to you as fine-ish. Sir, I'm an educated young lady. I am a miss and a man. What are we talking about? And this is not just for relationships. This goes for friends and family too. I don't allow my friends to call me a B word. Me personally, nothing wrong with it. I'm just a little bit sensitive, and I've had experiences with friends that would call me the B word or call me the H word, but they really meant it. And that's why I don't play like that. It's like, just call me by my name, give me a nickname, address me accordingly. And especially too, if somebody is trying to bring up a conversation to you, they need to make sure that they're coming at you with some respect. Don't just come over here cussing me out, talking to me out the side of your neck, because you're gonna get met with something that you don't want to get met with. Okay? You need to have that type of energy, because again, people are not going to respect you if you don't stand for something. People need to know that there will be consequences for their actions. They should be a little bit scared, and that's okay. And all of this is a lot easier said than done, but this is why we're practicing in these small ways. The key to all of this is to say it when these things happen. As soon as somebody disrespects you, say it right then. And if you're anything like me, I'm the type of person that has like delayed processing or whatever. So yeah, somebody might throw shade at me one day, but then I won't pick it up until 3 days later. But even if that's you, at that third day when you realize that shade was thrown, you need to go back and say something to somebody. And if they say, hey, well, why didn't you tell me then? It's because I didn't realize what you were doing then. But now that I know, you need to not do it again, or we're going to end this relationship, this friendship. And the reason why we're doing this is because we don't want to bottle all of these things up and then take it out on the wrong people. The people that love us and support us and care about us. The people who would never just cross our boundaries just because. The people who don't want to cross our boundaries just to make us angry. Those people don't deserve that type of behavior from us. And we have to check ourselves, because I've been there before where I've taken it out on the wrong people, but that's because I didn't express it to the people that actually needed to hear it. And by the time I was ready to talk, everybody could get it. It just be like that. But cheers to growth though. I understood where I was going wrong in this situation, and now I do what I can to avoid getting to those crash outs. And again, we have to ask ourselves, why am I willing to be uncomfortable at somebody else's expense? Why do I have to be uncomfortable just to keep the so-called peace? The fourth way to stand up for yourself and set boundaries is to practice being comfortable with the outcome. And the reason I say practice getting comfortable with the outcome is because it's truly a process to get over the guilt of choosing yourself and putting yourself first. And that guilt sometimes can keep us from speaking up. It can make us backtrack and overthink the boundaries that we set, and make us start wanting to apologize even though we weren't the ones that did anything wrong. And the thing is, no matter how nice or harsh that you say something, there's always going to be somebody toxic that decides to take it personally. There's always going to be somebody toxic to try to blame you and say that you're wrong for how you feel. And there's always going to be toxic people that try to misconstrue your words and purposely misunderstand you. But we have to remember, the only people that are upset at us setting boundaries are the people that benefited from us having no boundaries. And again, it goes back to the question we need to ask ourselves from the beginning. Why are we okay having people around us that don't support us and respect us in this way? Why are we okay with people that never want to understand us? Why are we okay having people around us that don't respect us and see us? People that really love and support you want to see you happy. They want to see you healthy and thriving. They want to add to your happiness. They don't want to just come in and take and take and take and drain you and leave you with nothing. They want to add to you. And speaking up and standing up for ourselves in these ways isn't just about the boundaries. It's about unlearning and outgrowing that version of ourselves that was okay with not having them. Outgrowing that version of ourselves that always wanted to fix things. Outgrow that version of ourselves that felt like we couldn't be alone without certain people, places, and things in our life. And that just means we have to be okay with standing on our boundaries, even if we feel guilty, even if our boundaries are received the wrong way. We don't have to fix what we did not break. And the reason why we don't need to fix things that we didn't break is because because for toxic people, it doesn't matter what you do. They will always be committed to having a certain perception of you. You cannot control how other people see you, but you can control how it is that you see yourself. You can do that by building confidence and a healthy self-concept, having a strong sense of self, staying committed and reaching your personal goals, learning how to control yourself and your emotions, and showing up for yourself every day, even if it's in a small way. These are some things that are in your control. Don't get caught up trying to control the uncontrollable and how other people are going to react or how they're going to feel about certain things. It is what it is. Only you can control how you feel and how you move and how you show up every day. And when you learn to stop trying to control the uncontrollable, life will become so much easier because you're only focused on yourself. And speaking of, y'all should go back and watch my video on how to move in silence and on how to be obsessed with yourself. It talks a lot about just focusing on what it is that you have going on. And the last way to stand up for yourself and set boundaries is to trust yourself and actually stand on business. A part of building our self-trust is learning how to trust our intuition, because our intuition doesn't always need proof of how we feel, which I talk a lot about this in my how to validate yourself video, so y'all should go back and watch that if y'all haven't already. Because the thing is, people lie, but energy and intentions don't. When you start to trust yourself, you'll start to notice that when you're around certain people, places, and things, you start to feel drained, or sometimes you just start to feel off for some reason. And through people's actions or lack thereof, we can always feel the intent and the energy behind it. We can feel the intent that they had to disrespect us. We can feel the intent that they had to make us feel low about ourselves, or to make us feel guilty, because toxic people like to do that as a manipulation tactic and make you feel guilty to get their way. But the energy and how we feel in our body is enough proof in itself for us to trust our intuition. We don't always need a reason to find out why we feel our way. We just need to trust that we feel a way. Which again, go back and watch my how to validate yourself video. And it's okay to get advice and opinions from other people, but don't make that the sole reason why you make decisions. Make your own decisions and trust the decisions that you make. And just remember that everybody is not going to understand or respect your boundaries, but as long as you understand, that is all that matters. And understand that you are not responsible for anybody's emotions. Sometimes our boundaries is what makes people actually sit with their emotions for the first time. Don't go back on your decisions because of how other people feel. And be okay with those people not having access to the new you, because they don't deserve it to begin with. And those same people will say that you changed and that you think that you're better than people, but we just have to remember that these are the same people that benefited from us not having boundaries. And a better question to ask these people is like, yes, I did change, but you haven't? It's been how long and you're still acting the same way? Yeah, go ahead and clock their teeth. And when you continue to set these boundaries with these types of people, this will help you separate your worth from their approval and acceptance. And just know that if you felt led to say something, you probably needed to say it. And that's okay, don't go back on it. So overall, trusting yourself and setting boundaries isn't about never questioning things or questioning people. It's just about not abandoning yourself in the process when you start to feel uncomfortable, just to keep the peace. So again, trust yourself, understand yourself, and protect yourself in the ways that feel best for you. And when you practice these things, watch yourself grow into such a confident version of yourself that is solid in setting her boundaries, because she knows her worth. And when you cultivate that inner peace, knowing that, it will show in literally everything that you do. So that is pretty much all I have to say for this video. If you find any value from it, please leave a like or a comment down below. It really helps my channel out a lot to know that you like videos like these. I love each and every one of y'all so much. Thank y'all for y'all's constant support. Go ahead and follow me on my Instagram right down below on the screen, and I will see y'all in my next video.